There were other photos there as well. Amanda's law school graduation, Amanda and my mother at the country club, a family photo from 3 Christmases ago. I was in that one, but barely visible, standing at the edge of the frame like I was trying to disappear. 7 years, 7 Christmases, and the only photos of me were the ones where I was half cropped out. I carried the potatoes to the dining room. The table was set for 14. Lenox china, my mother's wedding china from 1988, crystal glasses, a floral centerpiece that probably cost $800. The table was beautiful. It always was. My mother had excellent taste. She just didn't have room for me in it. I found my place card. There it was at the far end of the table near the kitchen door, squeezed between Aunt Helen and Cousin Greg, who was 28 and barely spoke to anyone. From that seat, I would have a clear view of the head of the table where my mother would sit, but I'd be far enough away that I could be forgotten. Perfect. I went back to the kitchen for more dishes. That's when Amanda came downstairs. I heard her before I saw her. That laugh she used when she wanted everyone to know she was happy. High-pitched, performative, the laugh that said, "Look at me, look at how good everything is. Mom," she called from the top of the stairs. "He's almost here. Tyler just texted. 5 minutes away." The energy in the house shifted instantly. My mother rushed out of the kitchen, smoothing her sweater and checking her hair in the hallway mirror. Guests began gathering in the living room. Everyone wanted to see Amanda's new boyfriend, the successful one, the charming one, the one who was finally worthy of her. I stayed in the kitchen. 5 minutes later, I heard the car pull up. A black BMW X5. I could see it through the window. The engine cut off. The door opened. Tyler Hutchinson stepped out and my stomach dropped. He was tall, 6'2" maybe, expensive navy suit, tailored Tom Ford if I had to guess. His watch caught the light, Rolex Submariner, $12,000 retail. I knew because I'd seen it before. Recently, I set down the serving spoon I was holding. My hands weren't shaking. That's one thing trauma surgery teaches you, how to keep your hands steady, even when your heart is pounding. Even when everything inside you is screaming. I walked to the edge of the kitchen and watched through the doorway as he entered. Amanda rushed to him, kissed him, held his hand, and introduced him to everyone. My mother was beaming, absolutely radiant, as she shook his hand and told him how wonderful it was to finally meet him. Aunt Karen and Uncle Bob stepped forward, then Cousin Greg. Then my mother's 3 book club friends invited to make the guest count look more impressive. Tyler smiled, shook hands, and said all the right things. He had that polish that comes from years of working rooms, confident, charming, the kind of man who makes people feel like they're the most important person in the conversation. "This is Tyler Hutchinson," my mother announced loudly enough for the room to hear. "He's a commercial real estate developer. His company manages over $85 million in properties." Tyler laughed modestly. "My team does great work. I'm lucky to work with them." The room loved him. Amanda brought him into the kitchen. Their face was glowing. "Tyler, this is my sister, Mary. She works at a hospital." Tyler extended his hand. Firm grip, warm smile, eye contact for exactly 2 seconds. "Nice to meet you, Mary." I shook his hand. He didn't recognize me. Of course he didn't. Nutty, of course he did. The last time he'd seen me, I had been wearing a surgical cap, a mask, and a gown covered in his wife's blood. I'd been exhausted. Running on 30 hours with no sleep, standing in a waiting room at 2:43 in the morning, telling him his wife and newborn son were going to survive. He had been crying, holding his 18-month-old daughter, saying, "Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much." Now he stood in my mother's kitchen, holding my sister's hand, wearing the same cologne I had smelled through my mask 6 weeks ago. Tom Ford wood, strong and distinctive. The scent memory hit me like a fist. I let go of his hand. "Nice to meet you," I said. I didn't smile. Amanda didn't notice. She was already pulling him toward the living room, showing him off. I heard my mother telling him about the house, the neighborhood, how long they'd lived here. Her voice was animated in a way it never was when she spoke to me. I leaned against the kitchen counter, took a breath, and processed. Tyler Hutchinson, commercial real estate developer, dating my sister for, how long had Amanda said? 4 months, since July. They'd met through my mother's real estate network, some business connection at a dinner party. Amanda had been thrilled. Finally, she'd said. Finally, someone good. And I had operated on his wife 5 weeks ago. I pulled out my phone and opened the Notes app where I kept patient details, not full charts, just enough to jog my memory for follow-ups. I scrolled back to October. There it was, October 20th. Jennifer Hutchinson, emergency C-section, health syndrome, placental abruption, massive hemorrhage, hemorrhage. Baby boy 5 pounds 3 ounces, NICU level 2, mother stable after transfusion, husband present. Tyler Hutchinson listed as emergency contact, insurance under his name, family plan, address 863 Meadowbrook Lane, Scarsdale. I looked up. Amanda was laughing in the living room. Tyler had his arm around her. My mother was introducing him to more people, and I knew something none of them knew. I slipped my phone back into my pocket. My mother was calling everyone to the table. The seating arrangement was exactly what I had expected. My mother at the head, Amanda to her right, glowing and practically vibrating with happiness. Tyler beside Amanda, the seat of honor, Aunt Karen and Uncle Bob on the left, then my mother's book club friends, Carol Henderson, Susan Mitchell, Linda Chen, followed by the younger cousins. And finally, at the far end near the kitchen door, squeezed between Aunt Helen and Cousin Greg. Me. From my seat, I had a perfect view of Tyler's left hand. No wedding ring, but the tan line was there, clear as day. Fourth finger, left hand, the skin was noticeably paler where a ring had been. Recently removed. Maybe this morning, maybe in the car on the way here. I watched him. He was performing beautifully, answering questions about his business, telling a charming story about a deal he'd closed last week, something about Chicago, a business trip, a negotiation, victory. Jennifer had thought he was in Chicago last week too. Here's the rewritten section with very minor changes, polished wording, consistent flow, and the same word quantity and natural storytelling rhythm. I knew because I'd seen her for a post-op follow-up. She'd mentioned it. Tyler's traveling a lot lately, big project in Chicago, but he always makes time to FaceTime with the kids before bed. The kids, Lily, 18 months old, and Noah, 5 weeks old today, home from the NICU for just over 2 weeks. I picked up my fork and started eating turkey, mashed potatoes, and green beans. Everything tasted like nothing. The conversation at the table flowed around me. Tyler was the center of it all. Amanda kept touching his arm, his shoulder, his hand. My mother kept steering the conversation back to him. What was his company working on? Where did he see the market going? Had he always wanted to work in real estate? He answered everything perfectly, confident but not arrogant. Successful but humble, funny but not trying too hard. I was supervising 3 residents. I was on call for 24-hour shifts 6 days a month. I had performed over 200 deliveries and 50 emergency surgeries, and my mother still told people I helped with births. I stopped trying to correct her. I stopped mentioning my work. I stopped going to family events unless I absolutely had to. I worked 85 hours a week and told myself it was fine. I didn't need her approval. I didn't need her pride. I just needed to show up, stay quiet, and save lives where it mattered. But it hurt. God, it hurt. I remembered Amanda's promotion party in June 2023. It was at the Plaza in Manhattan, black tie. 300 people. My mother rented out a ballroom. There were speeches, toasts, a video presentation of Amanda's career highlights. I wasn't invited. I found out about it from Aunt Helen, who called me the day after. I looked for you, she'd said. Oh, Mother said you were working. I hadn't been working. I hadn't even known about it. I remembered my mother's 60th birthday cruise in December 2024, 10 days in the Caribbean. My mother and Amanda, mother-daughter time. They posted photos every day, sunset dinners, spa days, cocktails by the pool. I'd asked if I could come. My mother had said it was already booked, just the 2 of them, maybe next time. There wasn't a next time. I remembered the Christmas cards. Every year, my mother sent them to 200 people. Glossy, professional, the photo was always the same. Patricia and Amanda Shockley. Happy holidays. I wasn't in the photo. In 2024, I gotten one in the mail. My own mother's Christmas card sent to my apartment with me erased. I kept it in a drawer. I didn't throw it away. I don't know why. And now, sitting at this Thanksgiving table watching my mother fawn over Tyler Hutchinson, I realized something. She was never going to see me. Mose spent 7 years trying to earn her pride, trying to make her understand that what I did mattered, that saving mothers' lives was important. That high-risk obstetrics wasn't just helping with babies, that I was a surgeon, that I was good at what I did, that I mattered, but she didn't want to see it because I'd chosen the wrong specialty. My father died when I was 19. Heart attack. Massive. He was 56. Healthy, we thought. No warning signs. He collapsed in his office. By the time the ambulance got there, he was gone. I remember sitting in the hospital afterward listening to the doctor explain it to us. Myocardial infarction, cardiac arrest. There was nothing they could do. I decided then on medical school. I was going to save people like him. My mother had been proud at first. Her daughter, the future doctor. She told everyone. She bragged at the country club. She imagined me in cardiology like Carol Henderson's son. Or neurosurgery like Susan Mitchell's daughter. Something prestigious. Something impressive. Something she could talk about at dinner parties. And then I chose OB-GYN. Choosing. She'd said standing in her kitchen in August 2014 when I told her about my residency match. Mary, that's women's work. Why not cardiology or neurosurgery? Something prestigious. Saving mothers and babies is prestigious, I'd said. She looked at me like I'd disappointed her. Your father would have wanted you to be a real surgeon. Heartbrain. That's where the respect is, not this. That was the moment I realized I'd never be enough because I chose to save women. And to her, that didn't count. Her friends' children were doing important work. Carol Henderson's son, James, was chief of cardiology at NYU, featured in the New York Times last year for a breakthrough in valve replacement. Susan Mitchell's daughter, Rachel, was a neurosurgeon, published in JAMA, and gave a TEDx talk about brain mapping. And me? I delivered babies. Anyone could do that, right? Except 700 women a year in the United States die from maternal mortality, most of them preventable. And yes, sometimes I hand out stickers after I've spent 6 hours in an OR covered in blood keeping someone's wife alive. I looked directly at Tyler when I said that last part. Someone's wife. His hand trembled slightly. Just slightly, but I saw it. My mother was trying to recover. Mary, we know you're a doctor. You told the Hendersons I was a nurse, I said, still calm, still factual. You told your book club I help with births. You've never once said the word surgeon when introducing me. Aunt Helen's hand went to her mouth. Uncle Bob stared at my mother. The book club friends looked uncomfortable. I'm not ashamed of my work, Mom, I said. Oh, but you are, and I'm done pretending that's okay. Tyler was about to say something. A smoothing over comment, an attempt to de-escalate. But I wasn't done. The work is demanding, I said, looking directly at him. So, I'm on call 6 days a month for 24-hour shifts. Last month was particularly brutal, October. I paused. Let the word hang in the air. I had a case that stayed with me. Sometimes you get a case that stays with you. The ones where everything goes wrong at once. Where you're racing against time. I tilted my head slightly. Where the husband is in the waiting room, terrified, holding his toddler, praying you can save them both. Tyler's fork dropped. It hit his plate with a loud clink. All eyes turned to him. His face was completely white. His hand holding the wine glass started shaking. Tyler, are you okay? Amanda asked. He didn't answer. I kept going. October 20th, I said, clinical and precise, like I was giving a medical report. A Monday. I was home asleep. He didn't answer. Got the call at 12:15 a.m. Patient in the ER, 35 weeks pregnant. Severe preeclampsia, escalating fast, blood pressure through the roof. I was out the door by 12:18, arrived at the hospital at 12:52. Tyler stood up suddenly. His chair scraped against the floor. Excuse me. Bathroom, me. He rushed out of the room. The table erupted. Multiple people talking at once. Amanda, what the hell was that? My mother? Mary, what are you doing? Aunt Helen. Oh my God. I sat there calm, eating a bite of mashed potatoes, waiting. Amanda stood up and ran after Tyler and after Tyler. I could hear her in the hallway. Tyler, what's wrong? I took another bite, chewed slowly, and looked at my mother. She was staring at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Fear maybe, or the beginning of understanding. I set down my fork. When you get that call at midnight, I said to the table, to the guests still sitting there in shock, you know it's bad. They don't wake you up for routine deliveries. They wake you up when someone's dying. Amanda came back into the dining room without Tyler. Her face was flushed, confused, angry. He's on the phone. He won't talk to me. Mary, what the fuck are you doing? I'm eating Thanksgiving dinner, I said. Are you saying Tyler is married? You're lying. You're jealous. You've always been jealous. You've always been jealous. I didn't respond. Just picked up my water glass, took a sip, and set it down with deliberate care. I don't need to lie, I said. His phone is about to do it for me. An awkward silence settled over the table. 2 minutes. 3. Tyler was still on the phone in the hallway. I could hear his voice muffled and tense. That's intense. Subscribe right now so you don't miss what happens when the entire table realizes my mother chose this man over me. I stood up slowly, calmly. Every eye in the room turned to me.